Hello everyone. So I'm here in democratically elected Towers of Hell for talking about Tower of Hopeless Hell that I recently was able to complete. So it wasn't exactly like the easiest grind I've had, but it wasn't the hardest thing I've ever done. Like some grinds like Astral Eclipse actually felt harder because I actually grinded that for a longer amount of time. But it doesn't mean it wasn't a hard grind of itself. One thing that makes Tower of Hopeless Hell is it's just how long your runs can get. Like it may be a short tower if you just do it like perfectly, maybe like no more than 15 minutes. But if you're really grinding it, your runs are gonna be pretty long. So if you want to beat it, you're gonna need some time on your hands, but also you're gonna need some fairly decent dedication to the tower, since you're not just gonna beat it in like 20 minutes. In my videos, if you've seen the video where I beat it, it was like 1.5 hours, which is pretty long, to be honest. So like, I mean, it is one of the longer runs on the tower, most likely, but still, like, runs are usually at least 30 minutes long, at the very least. It is like some sections, like especially like the first half, feel much more like insane difficulty. So I was able to get past those without much difficulty, but like the second half was a lot harder, and it really took a little bit more effort to actually like get past, despite the fact that there was like so many safety nets inside of the tower, especially in the second half. So the first half, it's easier gameplay, but it's not as like netted. The only net you have is like the partial net on 3. Besides that, you really have like almost nothing but like other parts from different floors to save you. And then going from like floor 7 onward, you're pretty safety netted for like the rest of the tower. And the good thing is, and the thing about that's good is that you can like save yourself a lot if you fall from like 9 or 10, which I did quite a lot. Practice the second half so you don't get stuck there for too long, but make sure you're gonna stay there for a bit. That's what I'm trying to say. You're gonna be there for a bit on your Hopeless Hell runs. Like 90% of the time you spend is gonna be on floors 7 through 10 on your winning run, of course. That was the case for me because it maybe took me like 20 minutes on my winning run to get to 8, but I spent the rest of like the 72 minutes struggling on 8, 9, 10 because they are really difficult floors. Whereas with the tower, like, there's a few things I learned from it, and it's definitely a good like first or second extreme depending on like what style of gameplay you're good at. I did Astral Eclipse before it, which I think is a pretty good decision because that seems like what a lot of people do. But you could also do other extremes before, like you could do Astronomically Famous Annoyances, for example. That would also be pretty good before it because it also has fairly difficult maps inside of it, just like Hopeless Hell. When grinding the tower, I've been telling you this like before, but like something you should 100% know is that like the gameplay isn't that hard. Like you're gonna, like, even I did this. I underestimated when I first played it for the first time how difficult the tower would actually be. When I first joined it, I was like, oh, it's like insane difficulty gameplay. This isn't that bad. And I get to floor 3 and I'm like, what? This is like nil. Don't play the tower if you're insane. If your hardest is like a bit insane, please don't. Save yourself from a 2-week grind. To kind of solve that, you should probably do an all jumps run before you grind any tower. I've been doing that recently because I actually didn't do that before. But it helps you like know like what you're up against, and it actually helps for the decision if you can grind or not. Back to Hopeless Hell, however, like I'm gonna tell you like what like I learned from it. I learned some good things you should definitely know with JTO. First thing I learned from it is like never underestimate your opponents. Every tower is an opponent, and like if you underestimate it, it's most likely not gonna go great for you. It usually doesn't go well for you, and usually you just quit. So this tower just told me that, like, don't underestimate a tower based on its first floor. Similar tower to that is the dripping amalgam. That first floor is incredibly easy, but not the next couple of floors. Those are not easy. Another thing that, like, I learned from the tower is, like, when you're playing, like, especially if you're playing, you just gotta stay calm, because otherwise you're just gonna get mad for no reason, and you're just gonna feel like just not, like, you're just gonna feel like not playing the tower, which would suck, because, like, you could have, like, a real good chance of actually beating it, especially if you're, like, loop failing on 8 through 10. So what to take out of all this is that, like, for Hopeless Hell, just you need to be a resilient player. The tower, it tests your resilience, and if you, and the creator knew, Doozer knew that, like, if you're not a dedicated player, you're probably not going to beat the tower, because it takes a lot of loop failing and stuff, and especially with, like, the first couple of floors, like, and stuff like that, because, like, the first couple of floors feel really difficult when you start grinding the tower, but as you play it more and more progressively through each day, you find them easier, you know, to be able to get further. Doozer also knew that, like, the tower, like, every time you fall, like, you're gonna get a little bit mad. It's like the loop failing, like personally for me, I did get a little bit mad, but, like, I didn't really, like, every time I got a little mad, I just took, like, a 5-second stop and just, I don't know, took a breath or something. And that actually worked unreasonably well, and that's something you should definitely do. But if you're raging, like, it's not good, because you're just getting mad at the game for seemingly no reason. Especially if you're failing, because, like, just, like, calm down, and eventually you'll be able to get past it, and you'll be fine. Just breathe while playing the tower, you'll be okay. But if you, like, don't do that, you're gonna get really mad, and it's not gonna go well. So ultimately, for the end of this video, just, if you're grinding Hopeless Hell, you need to be a dedicated player. Just, loop failing is really normal on the tower. Just don't get mad, and if you do what I told you, like, just sit there for a couple seconds and breathe. It works really well. So I hope you notice and use the tips I told you in this video if you are grinding Hopeless Hell yourself. So anyways, see you guys in the next video. And by the way, I'm most likely doing a first Terrifying next. I won't tell you which until I actually get somewhat far, like maybe like floor 7. Alright. Alright guys, I don't care what you do, like, ultimately, like, I don't care what you do, subscribe or not, I don't know.